You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Now's a good time to remember where the story of tequila started. In 1795, the first tequila distillery was opened by the Cuervo family. And 229 years later, Cuervo is still going strong. Family owned from the start, same family, same land. Now's a good time to enjoy Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. Go to Cuervo.com to shop tequila or visit a store near you. Cuervo, now's a good time. Trademarks owned by Becle, SAB de CV. Copyright 2024. Próximo. Jersey City, New Jersey. Please drink responsibly.
Folks, whether you're hosting a game day, a movie night, DiGiorno knows that planning a watch party on a budget isn't easy. You need the perfect setting, the perfect squad, the perfect eats. And luckily you're a Game Time mastermind, and you know that grabbing DiGiorno Classic Crust Pizza can bring home the dub. Because it's packed with half a pound of cheese, sauce, and other toppings, and comes at an incredible price. Make the game-winning call and grab a DiGiorno Classic Crust Pizza from the grocery store today. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
The podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
I'm not too worried about the Panthers, though. Everybody breathe a sigh of relief. Barkov should be coming back into the lineup on Saturday against, man, this league is incredible. If you look at that Saturday slate, if you see the games and the teams that are clashing on Saturday, it's insane. You have a national television game with a team now that has proven they can draw ratings in the Florida Panthers. You have Panthers at Rangers, two teams that are neck and neck atop the Eastern Conference, 8 p.m. primetime. Hopefully Barkov is back for that. I like that they're taking a cautious approach with Ekblad. We're starting to feel his absence a little bit. It's a murderer's row. After that, they have Philadelphia, which is a slightly easier opponent, you would say, if you're just looking at points. Philadelphia's had Florida's number, and they're getting him on the back end of a back-to-back. John Tortorella wants to drag everyone into hell that he plays with and plays against. So it's a really difficult sport right now. The teams are so good. Nathan McKinnon plays hockey tonight, folks. That's appointment television. But I would be cautiously optimistic that this is going to happen. Whenever you rip off a run like that, this team has shown you whenever they get hot, they settle down a little bit, and they build themselves back up. So I actually think that they're going to be fine.
I'm not worried about the Panthers, but last night, I know they came in hurt. They had 5 days off. They had a little bit of rink rust on them, but that was embarrassing, man. They were entirely too slow against this Predators team. They got outclassed.
They got out-Panthered by Andrew Brunette's Nashville Predators. That one was a tough pill to swallow.
Lucy is not happy with you guys talking hockey when she wants to talk college basketball.
You're not helping.
It's March.
I mean, she just, look, that's a good comeback from her. It's March. There's going to be time to talk.
I feel like we've talked about college basketball today.
Yeah.
Again,
You've hated on college basketball today. Right. You haven't given us our day.
Right. We are a sports show. I know. We had a little tete-a-tete and a little back and forth. And the topic du jour, March Madness. I gave you a little different opinion. You spoke for the people. You remain popular. I talk too much. I'm the villain. We're all happy. That's what keeps this whole machine going.
Exactly.
Disagree. I really want to talk about Coach Cal after the Kentucky loss yesterday, because I think it became very clear to me that NIL was sort of going to be the death of Coach Cal, because I don't want to say anything or accuse him of anything, but PayPal Cal had an advantage before NIL that now allegedly he no longer has, because it's open to everybody, and I think you're starting to see it. Kentucky doesn't recruit as well as they once did. Even when they do, they're losing in the first round of the tournament. They lost to Oakland this year. They lost to St. Peter's 2 years ago. Those are double-digit seeds, and now Kentucky basketball is at this really crazy point where if you want to remain a relevant program, you have to get rid of Coach Cal. His buyout is over $33 million.
Get rid of him.
I think they can't get rid of him, but this is... Coach Cal is now the latest, because his comments, it kind of feels like he's been laying the foundation for his exit for quite some time, seeing the writing on the walls. there is no bigger red flag for me that if you decide to leave college athletics after you were running shit for 20 years. Because it leads me to believe you were doing something that wasn't on the up and up. And I know I'm not breaking any news here
Saban's
with
not
Coach
getting
Cal,
any of that.
But
Saban's not getting any of that.
Saban, that's what pisses me off. Because I don't know if you saw him speak to representatives.
Yep.
And I want to be very careful because I respect the man immensely.
We played it with him sitting next to Ted Cruz. We played that sound, and it bothered everybody.
Man of high character, despite lying to Dolphins fans. He has since atoned for that. One of the greatest leaders in the history of sports. Tell me if I've said enough to protect me from what He behaved like a punk ass when he was on the Hill. Wow. He behaved like a punk ass, sore loser. Sore loser. Displayed he is not a punk ass. He is a titan. He is the greatest to ever do it in a sport where it's really hard to be that great. But also, he had some advantages that other people started getting, and they were above board, and then he left. He dipped. I'm not going to say he tucked his tail in because he almost beat Michigan, the national champion. But the game changed. The game changed, and he left. Gino Auriemma, writing's on the wall there. Coach Cal, writing's on the wall there. Unprecedented runs these coaches have had. And when the talent gets dispersed, you see that they don't want any part in the game anymore. It's, once again, a little chicken shit behavior.
Okay, punk ass. I don't know what the hierarchy is on this. Roy, can you look up for me, please, why there's writing on the wall? I'm not familiar.
This might be biblical in origin.
I don't know what it is in origin. Iowa.
Are Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
I don't. It might have been.
Do you
I think King
know my
Nebuchadnezzar's
name?
in there somewhere.
Iowa, are you going to Iowa this weekend?
Well, I go by Lucy. That's what my birth certificate says. And yes, I'm so excited. We're going to Iowa for the first round of the tournament. So if you thought I talked about Caitlin Clark a lot before, just you wait. We're flying out tonight. We're going to go to their first round on, I guess, tomorrow. And then Monday, they'll play the winner of West Virginia Princeton. And it'll be a little celebrities watch. Pat McAfee's going to be there. He's doing a show there. Why didn't we do a show there?
Well, you're going as a representative.
Yeah, but all
it's
of
hard.
us
I had a conversation with Skipper the other day about what things cost to move us, and he said, and he called us your traveling circus, and it's a lot of people. So is Pat McAfee, but that's the worldwide leader, and we're a startup company. And so we're sending just Lucy and an assortment of resources as opposed to all of us going to do a tournament game there.
Me and Rose.
In the book of Daniel, chapter 5, verses 5 through 31, you can find
book,
that.
by the way.
Great book. In which the prophet interprets some mysterious writing that a disembodied hand has inscribed on the palace wall, telling King Belshazzar that he will be overthrown.
And this is the saga that culminates with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
I don't think so.
I think it's Shadrach,
100%
Meshach, and Abednego adjacent.
But they were in the fire, correct?
Yeah. Off the air, I called that was the book of Daniel.
Yes.
I went to Christian school, K5 through 12.
You did a little hip hop there, and I wanted to ask the group here: did anyone recoil when Kendrick said there is no big three? There's just
just
me.
big me.
He knocked out
Kendrick
J.
is
Cole.
so back, Dan. Kendrick is so back with one verse. We are back.
There's no big three. It's just me.
It's just big me.
I'm going to put it on Peter Rosenberg, who called him the greatest MC ever, and that was like 2 albums ago. Kendrick, for me, is him. But J. Cole's also in that.
But he's never done that to Drake and J. Cole before, right?
There was shots fired across the bow, though, because he also had another line in that verse talking about how Prince outlived Michael Jackson. Drake has famously compared himself to Michael Jackson. It's like there's a lot of things going on there.
But they do these songs together. They occasionally collaborate, and they say these things. It's not like they're getting one over. It's not like Cannabis and LL Cool J for hip-hop fans out there.
So they're just saying things.
Yeah, and J. Cole, I don't know if you saw a recent interview that he did. Well, it wasn't actually that recent, but J. Cole actually had a hand in the discovery of Kendrick Lamar. So there's a lot of mutual respect there, but I do think Kendrick's the best. And if you can't listen to a dude in an NHL All-Star Sergei Bobrovsky jersey about hip-hop, who can you trust?
I wanted to ask you guys if you wanted to take a stab at it. I don't know if you guys drive in the same way I do and see the same billboards I do, but right across from the arena, advertising to people who park before going to a Heat game, there is a giant billboard for a person selling a skill set that is asking you to fear the beard, and the billboard just reads, "Winning is my sport." And I want to ask you guys what you think that is a commercial advertisement for, because when I see it, I don't think of winning is my sport or fear the beard with the profession insurance attorney.
I was going to say, I can recuse myself because I've seen these commercials. And on the Metro Rail, he actually has big pictures of himself and his little cartoon characters like, my sport is winning. And he's there like very serious.
It's a beard. Yes.
I love that.
It is. My sport is winning. It's a very aggressive marketing campaign. And he's really, I think we can all side with him if it's against the insurance company. Like that, you can go aggressive as an insurance.
That's not where the money is, though, Dano.
You can go aggressive with your marketing and advertising if you're someone who wants to tell others, I'll help you go after the insurance company. I'm an insurance attorney, and winning is my sport.
But his law firm is called your insurance attorney or something like that. Like not like names and then like the name of the.
I don't know what it. I just saw insurance attorney. I didn't even see a name on the billboard. I just saw a beard. I saw that winning is his sport, and then I saw an occupation that said insurance attorney. I did not see a name for what it is that was being advertised there.
I don't know if I would trust him as a lawyer.
Because of that advertising?
Just because, I mean, you're an insurance attorney. Like, that's not
lawyer
for a law firm.
I don't know.
But he said
he's
he
a
wouldn't-
lawyer that's taking out advertising. I think it's a bit of a red flag right there.
Or that he's just a lawyer.
Speaking of attorneys should have looked over Caden Proctor's contract, no doubt. We've talked about Iowa athletics a little bit on this show. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to talk about what Caden Proctor did. For those that don't know, Caden Proctor was from Iowa, had initially committed to Iowa, ended up going to Alabama, then went in the transfer portal and went back to Iowa. It was a huge get for Iowa, but as he went back to Iowa, he kind of let the cat out of the bag and revealed that Iowa reached out to him while he was enrolled at Alabama. Iowa got in trouble for it, and then it was announced a couple days ago that Proctor has re-entered the transfer portal and is now headed back to Alabama, leaving everybody to wonder, wait a second, did this guy just steal money from Iowa? What's the latest on this, Lucy?
His stat line for Iowa, 0 minutes played, 0 snap played, 1 NCAA investigation, and unknown amount of money taken from Iowa's collective. So basically, Caden Proctor, once Nick Saban left, decided to come back to Iowa. He was committed to Iowa up until National Signing Day and then was like, I got you. Just kidding. I'm going to Alabama. And we were like, you know what? Best of luck, my guy. Live your life. He then leaves.
God bless you.
God bless him.
Okay, let me write that down.
Comes back to Iowa and randomly, like it was kind of out of the blue, it's announced that he's transferring back to Alabama. He came to Iowa, and the collective for Iowa came out and said he did take money from us, not from anything that was fan donation, but just like business deals or advertising. I don't know how much of that is accurate because they do need to save face, because you don't want to say, hey, we gave this guy a shit ton of money, he came, took it, and left. But because there is no real like system where, you know, he's held accountable for that. And I'm all for players getting paid. I'm all for NIL. There's a potential that he came, took a crap ton of money from Iowa, watched Caitlin Clark play basketball, and said, you know what? I'm good. I'm going back to Alabama. It's one of the weirder NIL stories we've seen, and I think there's going to be a ripple effect because people are going to want more regulation now. Well, they always did.
Well, there should be a collectively bargained standard because different states have different rules, and depending on the state, he could have gotten paid in full. Hell, there in certain states, you can just get paid, and I know this for a fact, certain schools or certain collectives pay for just commitments, just a graphic that people can break at any time. So there's going to be way more Caden Proctors and Rashadas and Cormani McLean's before this actually gets any kind of regulation.
Incredible logo on the beard, by the way.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that is a great logo.
Stugotz here. Field of Greens is the healthiest thing I do every day, and I want you on this journey with me. It's 1 scoop a day. It's easy. It tastes great. I like the original flavor. I love the strawberry lemonade flavor, and it's completely improved my life. This is nutrition the way nature intended. I am telling you, since I started taking Field of Greens, I have way more energy throughout the day, sleeping better throughout the night, feeling better and healthier overall. It's been great, an amazing experience. Field of Greens is radically different. Each organic fruit and vegetable were medically chosen to support heart and vital organ health. I trust Field of Greens to keep me healthy. I promise you're going to love this product, but if for any reason you don't, they'll give you a 100% money-back guarantee. I got you 15% off your first order plus free rush shipping. Visit fieldofgreens.com and use promo code DLS. That's promo code DLS at fieldofgreens.com. That's fieldofgreens.com.
When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. As Meadowlark Media continues to grow as a content studio and as a multimedia company, we strive to hire only the best and the most qualified candidates. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, they've made it easy for us to find them. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all of that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of the small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/prep. That's linkedin.com/prep to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Don Batard. All of us who were watching college football elevated everything the weekend was because we missed football in general so very much.
You didn't watch the ending of UTEP Jacksonville State. It was awesome.
A doozy.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Stugotz. It's such a lane for you. Just everything in college football is awesome. Any single thing that happens, she gets deliriously happy about.
Don't you miss viewing sports through that prism, though? Like, I'm envious of Lucy. Like, I wish that I could still be happy.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Our wildly popular pivot for March Sadness. March is on, Dan. I've heard from our fans, and while I don't want to discount negative feedback, there's been a little bit here, but generally overwhelmingly positive with what we've done with March Sadness, which I have to remind you is all presented by Get Your Guide. Discover over 100,000 unforgettable travel experiences in the U.S. and around the world at getyourguide.com. We thank them for presenting this March Sadness, and as you know, there's all sorts of different regions. That's not at all confusing whatsoever. They all have to do with the show, and given that we're entering our 20th year doing this together, it's nice nostalgia for all of us. So Dan, out of the club region, we have a 6v11 matchup of two really popular sounds. Up first, the number 6 seed.
If you think I'm going to shoot the fair one with Ben, you out your mind. Get 6'10". I'm going straight. The shit that I'm going to do is ridiculous. I'm from the danger zone. You got to Google that shit. Oh, go Google Lenox Avenue, the danger zone. Go Google Lenox Avenue, the danger zone, 139th Street. See what we do for a living. And when you come back next week, you'll be like, "Oh, Cam, you from over there?"
I from San Francisco Trail Hill projects. I spent some time in some other kind of projects. I spent some time in some other kind of projects too.
Let me tell you something about that real quick.
I can tell you this. You ain't never heard nobody with me.
How me and you get in the beef? I'm not beefing with you. How me and you get in the beef? We're talking about Ben Simmons.
I'm going to help you with Ben.
All right, there we go. That's my man.
Dan, that is from the Is What It Is podcast. That is OJ, kind of referencing that, he's murdered a couple of people potentially.
I don't know what that was, but we don't want beef.
That is the 6 seed?
That is the 6 seed. And I got to tell you, I think the committee got this one wrong because it goes against an 11 seed. And I think the 11 seed is far stronger. Here is Stone Cold Steve Austin entering a cold plunge.
Come on.
Ha 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 ha. God damn it. Whoa. God damn it. Hey, what's up? God damn it. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Steve coming to the Broke Skull Ranch. I got this new therapy. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Steve coming to the Broken Skull Ranch. what's up, everybody? It's Steve coming to you from Broken Skull Ranch. About to do my first cold plunge and renewed therapy. My shop says 43 degrees right now, so I'm sure the water is sub 50. I was going to start off at 50. It's going to be a little bit colder than that. And we're going 3 minutes here. Once it gets on to 12, and 5, 4, 3, 2, down we go. God damn. Ha ha ha! Son of a bitch!
That's it. He's out.
Whoa,
He's out. No
mother.
3 minutes. He's not doing 3 minutes. He's doing a few seconds.
Gonna revisit this mother.
So you could head over to Batard AF, and actually your voice can be heard, because if you're like us and think that unjustly that's an 11 seed, you don't have to count on an upset in the actual tournament for this to advance. You can vote for it yourself. In the bracket of death bracket, which is all costume punishments, we have a number 2 seed, which is Greg Cody dressed as Harry Styles. I've actually never seen this before, and I don't know how we got Harry Styles there. That looks pretty bad from Greg. And that is going up against Stugotz from My Nightmares, dressed up as Larry Bird.
So these are just all costumes in the bracket of death. This is a 2 seed, Harry Styles, Greg Cody, looking slightly like Jerry Seinfeld as Tony. Tony as Jerry Seinfeld earlier this week.
Yeah, you know.
Looks like the girl from the Drew Carey show.
And Stugotz as Larry Bird was truly disturbing, incidentally, because 15 seed I do think is low, but I think it's just general disgust that got us there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Historically inaccurate.
movement.
Historically inaccurate costume. I believe Bird was wearing the home whites, and he wasn't wearing a Travis Matthew hat at the time.
Stugotz has worn like 3 costumes in 6 years. Like, I don't know how
All
he
settled.
skated on this.
All settled. The number 3 seed in this bracket of death is represented by Lucy Rodin. It was a run it back from our show's illustrious history. You once did this as Bobby Petrino, Dan, but I think Lucy took it next level. A lot more scars on her face, and that is a 3 seed. It's going up against probably... The committee got this one wrong,
Sleeper.
too.
This is a giant sleeper. This is one of the funniest moments to have happened. Me talking to Rob Delaney and us crying about sad things while Billy made an appearance as the number 14 seed is as funny a thing as has happened on a show the last 6 months.
We have a video clip to actually speak to how creepy and weird this entire segment was, and how useful the costume actually was to get in this segment off the ground.
It's a New York Times bestseller. It's A Heart That Works. It's out now in paperback. And I have not talked to you since this happened to me, so I will tell you that the places that you and I talked about the loss of your son at the time that we talked about it, I didn't even know my brother was sick when we had that conversation. And in the time since then, my brother has died. And I will tell you that the pain of that has been, I don't know what your pain is exactly, right? I can't possibly know, even though you've written a book. But I feel like I lost a son because I raised him.
Yeah, it's brutal. And I'm glad that you are talking about it. I'm so incredibly sorry. I'm glad that you're crying and that people can hear that, because the pain.
There's an old-timey baseball player here, Rob. Like what? Yes, thank you. Like, I can't cry.
That's a 14.
How?
There's no way.
How? That may win the entire thing.
It's
telling you, not just Final 14. That is a national title threat right there. I don't know how we top that.
Oakland.
We probably should have closed with that. But Dan, you dressed up as a really unique costume that I hadn't seen anyone do, especially after the Halloween season. Dan decided to dress up as Cowboy Ken, which, again, hadn't been done before, hasn't been done since. Great job by you. You're an 8 seed. I don't know how you're that much higher than old-timey baseball player. That's crazy to me.
My bracket was wildly disrespected in a way that enrages me. I don't have enough in the tournament. This was not one of the best costumes I've worn. Who am I up against?
You're up against a group shot here of the Anchorman News team. So that's a lot of people. Man. I am literally holding that suit together. You have no idea. The real torture, what was going on around my waistline. That was the actual punishment. Also, perspective, people. Jeremy is not even remotely close to being that much taller than me. It's all perspective. I'm very tall.
What is in Jeremy's left pocket?
I don't know. Throw that image back up. I didn't notice what was in his left pocket. I just noticed that we were essentially the same height. And as you know, that is not accurate. Many people say I'm one of the tallest people they've ever met.
Put it
in this photo, I'm like the shortest guy. That's just all perspective. I am 3 feet behind the rest of the group. Just so you know, I am a very tall individual.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Is Jack the perfect name for a guy who makes 10 threes off the bench? Jessica is texting me while you're doing this, Mike, enraged. I don't know how she got this already. Enraged at your March Madness takes. And the other thing we haven't talked about is that the women have sold 6 times as many Final Four tickets as the men. So you are just attacking so far yesterday's men's bracket is what you're attacking.
In fact, I laid out. I'm happy that the women have their day, and I think the women's sport is better than the men's in terms of quality.
A lot of people think that. Right
yeah,
now.
in terms
the
of
star power, that's indisputable.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's bad basketball being played all around, and don't hold it against me. You're going to find some dreadful execution in the women's game too. But in terms of physicality, a lot of the stuff that sports fans are drawn to. Some of these games on the women's side of things remind you of like 1980s NBA basketball with the physicality, and the refs are just just terrible. The officials are so bad in that sport. Gene Sarator probably backs every single one of them up.
Many people have written longing for the Looks Like tournament. And I will tell you that as we sit here, because Adam McKay is a little bit crazy, he has just bombarded me because he's always every year trying to get into our Looks Like tournament. He's just bombarded me with a dozen of these by text. Do you guys want to hear some of these? Would any of these have made the tournament? Eric Spolstra looks like a guy on his cell phone you'd walk past while entering a steak restaurant and hear him say, "Damn it, Barbara, I have a right to see our son."
That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah,
it would be funnier if someone read it perfectly, but this is not really giving this ample opportunity to succeed the way that you're doing this.
Doris Burke looks like the veteran homicide detective who, while looking at the victim's dead body, says, "And I thought I was having a bad day."
Also good.
It's also good, but we don't have Stugotz here. This is not a good situation for
Caitlin
these.
Clark looked like the girl who, after kicking your son's ass, looks at you and says, "You want some too, Grandpa?"
She would do that.
Roger Goodell looks like the mayor who, after warning you of a zombie outbreak, says, "Can't this wait until after the election?"
These are good. These are good. This makes me miss the old tournament.
They're double seeds for sure, like double-digit seeds.
You probably should have given it some space from the actual tournament.
Dan Le Batard looks like a cruise ship captain who can't swim.
Well, I know a lot of Cuban men your age that can't.
Greg Cody looks like he moved on.
My dad.
Greg Cody looks like he moved on to a houseboat in the 80s to meet ladies and solve crimes, but then realized the crime rate's pretty low and women don't hang out on boat docks.
Not bad.
So I wanted to give the people an idea of why Adam McKay never makes the tournament.
Yeah, but those are actually pretty solid. We just didn't have the device of Stugotz laughing.
He's very good.
No, Adam McKay? He's solid at writing jokes.
He's very good at comedy.
His resume would suggest that he's pretty good at it.
That is correct.
Yeah. Hey, if you're not doing anything this weekend, Disney Plus threw up X-Men 97. And I know this means nothing to Lucy and Tony. It probably means nothing to you either because you're out of the demo. But holy cow, did they nail this show. Oh, it's so good. And they have the original theme song and cast. Do yourself a favor if you're like 30 to 40 and watch X-Men 97. Howdy, folks. It's Mike Ryan. It's springtime. And while every time is a good time for Miller Lite, springtime is among the best. I was sitting out in my backyard watching some flowers bloom and some beautiful birds swimming from royal fishtail palm to royal fishtail palm, and I had a Miller Lite in my hand, and I said, yeah, this is the good life. Over the years, a lot has changed. One thing that hasn't, the great taste of Miller Lite. It was the original light beer, and to this day, it is still the very best one. Miller Lite has more of the taste that you want and less of the stuff that you don't. Oh, Miller Lite, you are always there for me. I thank the heavens for you every time I'm sitting on my back patio. and I take a sip. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
Don Le Batard.
We got Afrini Hardaway.
Afrini? Who was Afrini Hardaway?
I was trying to read fast. UD was on the team. Luke Jackson. Bobby Jones. The Matrix, Shawn Marion.
Stugotz.
Zoe, Shaq, Smush Parker. Chris Quinn.
Wait a minute.
D. Wade.
Wait a minute.
Jason Williams, they're all right. I mean, stacked roster.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I haven't been talking about this. It has been a great controversy in my neighborhood and has been national and I think international news that Miami Beach broke up very publicly with spring break. Some parties burn too hot and all parties, the best parties, have to die. And Miami Beach was very aggressive. There was some policing that was excessive. There were some things being done over the last few years and have been done over the last few years to try to militarize and police that area in a way that has felt aggressively un-American, has felt controversial because you had the issue of the party was very black and roiling. It was fun, and spring break had a lot of drunkenness in it, a lot of crime. This is different from Memorial Day weekend and some of the racist policing habits that were around that, but much of what has happened around spring break and the drinking has been partying that has resulted in something that feels like state emergency or actually is state emergency, declared state emergency, and also there have been in that stretch of very public tourist Miami Beach land, there have been some shootings and death that has made, as the area has been actively blighted, has made it dangerous. So, over the last month, what has been parking rates that are super high or just unavailable, traffic so bad that nobody would want to be there, Miami Beach is largely quiet and empty the way that it felt at the very beginning of the pandemic when everyone was in their homes. Not like that quite, but the quietest spring break you will ever have on that area of land because they've policed the holy hell out of it. And they told you they were going to do it, and they told you they were going to do it with a commercial where it went viral where they broke up. Miami Beach publicly broke up with spring break.
Hey, we need to talk.
This isn't working anymore.
And it's not us. It's you. We just want different things.
Our idea of a good time is relaxing on the beach.
Hitting up the spa. Or checking out a new restaurant.
You just want to get drunk in public and ignore laws.
Do you even remember what happened last March?
That was our breaking point, so we're breaking up with you.
And don't try to apologize and come crawling back. This isn't safe, so we're done.
And just so you know, we're serious.
This March, you can expect things like curfews, bag checks, and restricted beach access,
DUI checkpoints, $100 parking, and strong police enforcement for drug possession and violence.
Whatever it takes, because it's time to move on.
Maybe we can talk when you're done with your spring break phase, but until then,
$100 parking, so it's cheaper than it used to be.
Yeah. They made it initially $100, then they just stopped providing parking. They just closed the parking garages.
Well, they closed the parking unless you're a resident of Miami, because actually last weekend, Lehman wanted to go fishing on Miami Beach, and we couldn't find anywhere to park because all the lots were blocked off. So we eventually pulled up to one of them, and there was a parking guy there, as some sort of attendant, but not really like a police officer, but maybe security guard. I'm not sure what he was. But
they're trying to inconvenience everybody into not wanting to be there, and they've succeeded.
It was completely empty, so we pulled up and we were like, can we park here if we live in Miami? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. And we were like, okay. So we got a primo parking spot right on the beach. It was very bizarre. But I do think we need to reiterate how embarrassing this commercial is.
Yeah. What? Those actors, they were just things that no one would ever say.
It's a big Greg Corney.
Ultra will solve everything this weekend. We'll just get all the drugs and the drinking and the chaos and the overabundance. It'll just be. It won't be on the beach. It'll just be because it's
on the bay, Dan. Yeah.
It'll be right across from here, right? Wasn't there a mass herding? They did it on Key Biscayne a couple of years ago, and they realized the traffic disaster that was, where people end up walking miles because everything is so spread out here, and if you don't have access to traffic, you're going to be proper bleeped.
One of my British friends who covers Formula One is coming to the Miami Grand Prix, and he was asking me for some info on Miami before he plans his trip. And the first thing he asked was, "Is public transit reliable in Miami?" And I was like,
if you go to downtown to Kendall, yes, absolutely.
Call me Greg Corney.
The Ultra thing was weird because they were like, we don't want this in downtown anymore, and then they just put it in Key Biscayne, and they're like, oh, we now have a billion people on this little island, no way to get them out of there.
And they shut down the road, so people had to literally walk the Rickenbacker. If you don't know what that means, go look at Rickenbacker Causeway. It is like 47 miles.
They stranded people.
47 miles. People go and they run that for exercise all the time.
I've never done that. Greg Cody can do it in 6 minutes.
It's very steep. It's very steep. It goes up.
It's a nice little run. You should do it, Tony.
I've done it. You haven't.
I have done it.
Neither one of you have done.
I definitely have done it. I can show you a picture. If you go and you run it, you have to take a picture.
The run on you ran. Both
What's
of you.
the point of running it if you don't take a picture of it?
Both
Looks
of
like
you
we got to run off.
Both of you have run on the Rickenbacker Causeway. You're both.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. It is. It's nice.
The people who ride bikes or rollerblade on that are insane.
Frankie
out
rides
of their
bikes
mind.
on there. He's shown me videos of
He's
him
a crazy person.
driving up
I
with the
respect
bike,
you, Frankie.
driving down.
You're crazy.
We don't have a lot of strips of land more beautiful than that. However, late at night on drugs, walking on a highway is not the way to traverse that piece of land, which is how the people were trying to do it after Ultra last year.
Still safer than riding a bike on it, though.
Well, a lot of people die there,
Little dinner at Rusty Pelican.
That's still
Miami
lovely, I
Marine
think.
Basin.
Still lovely. Miami is a weird place, though, and I don't think you guys are going to have to walk me through this story because you were telling me that there is a very stubborn resident in Coral Gables that simply refuses to allow all of the developers who are coming down here. We don't have any more space to sell that isn't straight up. And so, because Miami is wildly overcrowded, it's way too expensive, and way too many people from everywhere are coming down here now. And in Coral Gables, there's been a plot of land that has been overdeveloped. And what is the backstory of the resident that simply refuses to be bought, and so now has a neighborhood home that is planted in the middle of what looks like a giant straight up in the sky resort?
This visual that we're showing is crazy because you can't really see because it's literally in the shadows, which is what this NPR story, the headline was, "A Florida man who refused to sell his home to a developer now lives in the shadows." Literally, because he's next to like this huge high rise, and there's his little house, and it used to be in a development in Coral Gables, and then a developer came and bought all the other houses, and everyone sold their houses to the developer, but he refused, and he said that his mom or his dad was sick, and he didn't want to move, and he couldn't move, and basically I'm not leaving. So they built this entire development around his house, and now he lives across the street from this humongous Lowe's hotel, and the pictures
he lives inside of it.
Are
not across the
crazy.
street. Not across the street. He lives in the middle
courtyard
of it. He lives, right? It's not across the street. This person's home, it makes no sense where this person's home is. We should try and get this person on the show and ask, because this must be emotional for him. He will not sell his parents, the memory of his parents.
Sure. But, a qué punto? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they offered him $500,000 cash. They offered him to pay for another house in the Gables, which, if you don't know, the Gables is like one of the most expensive real estates in anywhere in Florida, right? Plus a car. Like, they were giving him a lot of things for him to just be like, yeah, okay, sell it, whatever.
It's a bad business.
They don't want that there. They don't want his home there. They want to be able to put something else there.
$500,000 cash.
And they were going to pay for a house in the Gables.
At what point is this guy just bad at business?
No, $500,000 is not enough for that property.
No, Billy, they were going to give him
$500 cash.
They were going to buy him another house in the Gables.
He claimed in the story that he didn't trust the developers. And
I don't either.
I don't necessarily, blame him for that.
The developers will pay for that. That's what they want. They'll pay for that. They'll pay whatever amount of money that they said they'll pay.
What if they say they're going to pay for it and then they don't?
Then you take them to court. I mean, that's really easy.
Which costs money.
I know, but you're going to get it on the back end.
Tony's got it all figured
Everything
out.
is very easy in this world that Tony has created.
When the developer comes to me and says, hey, this rickety house, we're going to build a Lowe's hotel on it. Perfect. Oh, you guys are building for the Lowe's hotel? Excellent. These are my demands. I want $10 million or a house over there that I pick in Coral Gables, and I'll sell it to you. Write the check. Okay, perfect.
You've got leverage in this situation.
Absolutely.
Unless you're not willing to sell at all, which he isn't. And evidently there is no price because someone has stopped negotiating if that's still there. That hotel does not want him there.
It's really weird. And they also, he lived in this house while this entire massive construction was going on around him. And
That's
it was like
stubborn
24/7,
principle. Stubborn.
like 24/7 construction noise. And then his mom was sick and needed to go to the hospital, and the street was obstructed, and the 911 or the emergency vehicles couldn't get there. 911.
Yeah.
Those are two different. That's a tricky one. That's a you say it 911, it means one thing. You say it 911, it means another. But it's the same thing.
At what point is it like, hey, my mom's sick, but I can't drive her to the hospital because there's a crane in the way? Because I didn't sell the house.
It has to be inconvenient. I will tell you guys, because I'm trying to find a place that I can stay. It's hard to find stuff. It really is in South Florida that's available. And I'm trying to find, while I'm trying to have a home built, I'm trying to find a place to stay. And it is hard to find anything that doesn't have something under construction next to it. That even if you're trying to buy temporary housing or rent for a little while, everything that you want that would be in an affordable price range to anybody, to a human being, has construction happening next to it that you have to endure while you're sleeping or around whatever your days are.
My mother-in-law's house in Westchester has an efficiency next door for rent. No construction. If interested.
You interested?
Yes. Let's see. Let me see. I want to see one of the. Does it have a virtual tour?
He can FaceTime me.
It's an efficiency in Westchester.
Yes.
If it has a functioning toilet, I'd be shocked.
Does it have construction next to it?
No construction. Probably like 400 square feet, though.
Look, you guys have certainly noticed that Miami has become, in every respect, just like America, less and less affordable,
No
correct?
way.
Everywhere you're going, everything is more expensive than it used to be, correct?
What are you talking about? That's obviously not true.
Everywhere you go, including Westchester. If Hialeah is one of the top 5 least affordable.
Westchester, you can't even buy something for $1 million in Westchester anymore.
Nothing is affordable anymore, correct?
Raises?
Huh?
Could use one, yeah.
Trying to buy a house, Dan. Palmetto Bay is really nice. That's what I'm trying to look at.
Palmetto Bay, you're crazy. Palmetto Bay. You're a silly boy.
With the Rays, though, I mean, we can make something happen in Palmetto Bay.
You should represent this guy since you have it all figured out.
No, well, the problem is he's not listening to sound common advice. That's the problem.
So he should hear you.
I should knock on his door, to be honest. But I feel like it's already gone. We're too far gone on this. He's already staked his claim.
This is stubborn principle gone awry, correct? You have to have a price on this at some point. There has to be a price.
The price is you pay off my house in the Gables. How about this? Let me paint a picture for you guys. He's going to die at some point.
Oh, wait.
Come on, don't wish that upon that man.
You don't know that. You don't know that he's going to die.
He's going to live forever.
You don't know
he's going to live forever. I forgot. If he doesn't have any kids, the house is going to go into probate with the government, and they're going to sell it anyway.
You got to go, man. You got to go.
Why? Where? To the house. I'm going to go get him.
Howdy, folks. It's Mike Ryan. It's springtime, and while every time is a good time for Miller Lite, springtime is among the best. I was sitting out in my backyard watching some flowers bloom and some beautiful birds swimming from royal fishtail palm to royal fishtail palm, and I had a Miller Lite in my hand, and I said, yeah, this is the good life. Over the years, a lot has changed. One thing that hasn't, the great taste of Miller Lite. It was the original light beer, and to this day, it is still the very best one. Miller Lite has more of the taste that you want and less of the stuff that you don't. Oh, Miller Lite, you are always there for me. I thank the heavens for you every time I'm sitting on my back patio and I take a sip. It tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
Pulling up to Mickey D's just for drinks? Oh yeah, that's me. Nothing extra, just perfection and a straw. Coming in hot for the coldest cups on the block. Because there are drinks. Then there are drinks from McDonald's.
Mix things up with any size lemonade or sweet tea for $1.49. Perfect with our classic fries. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.